Hello, Russian language friends. Here's another exciting grammar lesson on what I call the first Russian morphing of masculine nouns. Now, morphing is my own word. In grammar, they say declension, but I thought declension sounds too nerdy, too off-putting, and so I came up with my own word of morphing. So because, let's face it, Russian nouns, or basically Russian words, do not stay put like English words. For example, in English, you only have two versions of table and tables, right? In any sentence, right? You can think of. Even if it's of tables, it's still tables. You just have to attach an of. In Russian, different story. They morph in many ways. But do not lose hope. We can get through this by studying charts, taking it systematically. So, for masculine objects, like, for example, zavod, which means factory. Basically, to express something in nominative, accusative, or genitive, dative, or instrumental prepositional, you add the following. For nominative, you don't add anything. That's what that zero means. For accusative, you don't add anything. In singular, we're talking about singular here. In genitive, you add a, so it becomes zavoda. In dative, you add a u, becomes zavodu. Instrumental becomes zavodom. In preposition, becomes zavodye. And for the plural, you add to zavod, you add ov, ami, and ach. What does this matter? Because, again, to speak grammatically in Russian, you need to add those endings. For example, here I give you some examples of some sentences. For example, you want to say, there are many factories over there. Or this is the entrance of the factory. Or made in a factory. Notice how the English words do not change at all. Except for factories, right? Factories, either factory or factories. But in Russian, you have all these changes. You have at least, as I showed, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in singular changes. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 changes also in plural. So, for example, if you want to say there are many factories there, you have to say Tut много заводов. If you want to say this is the entrance of the factory, you say это вход завода. If you want to say made in a factory, you say сделан на заводе. Yet another ending. But as I said, don't lose heart. Just memorize the heck out of this table. Just kind of like burn it in your memory, and you won't have to. Well, you won't have to think about it again. Then you just practice and you keep practicing until it really becomes solid in your head. There is a system to this. So then, if you're dealing with nouns that are living with souls, so that doesn't apply to plants, but applies to animals and people. So then you're going to have, it's similar to the objects, masculine objects, but there are some changes. For example, in the accusative, singular and plural. And that's why I highlighted. So the only changes, it's the same chart, same endings applies like an object, except for an accusative and genitive, where you have just an accusative. An accusative, you have and ov. For example, это хороший студент. This is a good student. Or, я знаю этого студента. I know this male student. Notice how you added an A for the accusative case. Or, у нас много студентов. We have many students. That's the genitive plural, so then you have ov at the end. Дать пример студентам. To give an example to the students. That's the dative plural. And notice you have the at the end. What else do we have? Then we have masculine nouns that with soft ending in short e. For example, like muzei, museum. For that, the endings are going to be no endings in nominative accusative. Then you have the ya ending in genitive, the u ending in dative, the yem ending in instrumental. The prepositional stays the same. In plural, you have e instead of u, e again instead of u. You have yev instead of ov. You have yam instead of You have yami instead of ami, and you have yach instead of ach. So for soft masculine, it's a version of the hard ending masculines, just with the little nuances. So for example, if you want to say, this is a good museum, you say, это хороший музей. If you want to say, in the town there are many museums, you say, в городе много музеев. If you want to say, we went around museums, we visited different museums, you would say, мы ходили по музеям. If you want to say, we saw a lot of interesting things in the museums, you say, в музеях мы видели много интересного. And just a note that герой declines or morphs like muzei. Герой means hero. Then we have the last type of masculines is the soft masculines ending in short sign, or which makes the consonant soft. For example, portfel means briefcase. So here you have basically this morphing is the same as the soft masculine muzei, except for the genitive singular plural, where you have e and ye instead of ya and yev. Okay? But the other ones are the same. So what masculines end in soft sign? There are not a lot, but there are a few that you should memorize. Gost means guest. Test is wife's father. Golub is dove. Cherv is warm. Vozhd is leader. Gvozd is nail. Gospod is lord. Dozhd or dosh is rain. Zholud is acorn. Lebed is swan. Medved is bear. Knyaz is prince. Vityaz is hero. Old way speaking. Goose is goose. Lasos is salmon. Kogut is claw. Lokot is elbow. Lamot is piece of bread, for example. Nogat is nail. Put is way. Devir is husband's brother. Zat is brother-in-law. Kabil is male animal. Karol is king. Tsar is emperor or Caesar. Pekar is baker. And Dikar is savage person. So if you remember these, basically you covered all the masculines that end in E. And morphing for that table is right there. So again, yes, there are a lot of changes in Russian, and this is only the masculine. But if you memorize these tables once and for all, just just take some, sit down and decide that you're going to study this table, and then, as I said, you won't have to go back to it, instead of just practicing and training yourself. And you can also train with me. You can hire me as a tutor, and you can find me at email Emil, E-M-I-L, Niculescu, Niculescu, 1972 at gmail.com. Thank you for your attention.